Hello, hello, Krista here, and guess what? We are done. I am done with my 75-day Sorta Hard challenge that I've given myself. It ended on the 31st of March, which I think was last Tuesday, and we are done. I have finished, and I finished strong. I'm so excited. Like I talked about in my last video, this last week and a half is definitely more filled in than this little week and a half here. I didn't drink my water the last couple days, and there was one day that I missed reading my book and doing the dishes. But other than that, I completed all the steps each of the days. So as a reminder, or for anyone who's new here, for 75 days from January 15th until the end of March 31st, I gave myself a 75-day Sorta Hard challenge. 75 Hard is a challenge that's out there in the universe. There's also a 75 soft. Last year, I kind of did a 75 medium, and this year I added a little bit to it to make it a 75 Sorta Hard. It's not quite what you have to do for the 75 hard, but I still felt like it was a challenge for me. The different aspects of my 75 Sorta Hard were to walk 8,000 steps every day, to get 60 minutes of exercise every day, not all at once, but throughout the day. I had to get 60 minutes. I gave myself the diet of no sweets, bread, or pasta. So basically greatly limiting my complex carbs. And I still could have fruit and all of that. I had to drink a gallon of water every day because you're supposed to have half of your body weight in ounces of water. And for me, it was almost a gallon. So I just made a gallon my goal for each day. Then I had to read some nonfiction every day, about 10 pages or 15 minutes, whichever one came first usually. And every day I had to go to bed with no dishes in my sink. So those were the 6 aspects of my 75 Sorta Hard. Let's talk about the hardest and the easiest. Surprisingly, the one that I never missed out on any of the days was no sugar. This one was the easiest when it comes right down to it. I mean, every single day of the 75 days, I had no sweets or bread or pasta, which is amazing to me. I'm very, very proud of that. The second one that I did almost every day was the 60 minutes of working out. I think I missed only one day of getting that 60 minutes. So in my mind, those just became immediate habits, doing my workouts every day and not eating sweets, bread, or pasta. I wasn't buying it. It wasn't coming into the home. I hid or put away any sweets that were here already. And it was great. I made some changes in some of the foods that I was eating. I tried a ground chicken, like a Hot Pocket type of a thing. When I was craving pizza, I made a ground chicken crust pizza, and that was delicious. I've done spaghetti squash a couple times throughout the time when I was feeling like I wanted some pasta type of dishes. Spaghetti squash came in clutch for that. And with the working out, I just made it a habit that every morning before work, I was getting up to work out before my day got started, really. And then once the weather turned nice, I was getting outside to walk at the end of the day, or I would come home and do another video at home, or even at work a couple times. I did it during nap time. So the working out and the sugar were the easiest ones. The other one that was more easy than I expected, for sure, was getting the dishes done every day. I am somebody who hates doing the dishes. I do not have a dishwasher, and I have been known in the past to let those dishes pile up and pile up and pile up until I have no silverware left in the drawer. And then I have to spend an extreme amount of time hurting my back, hunching over to wash all of these dishes. I learned that it's much quicker to just do a couple at a time at the end of every day. Whoa, way quicker. I was doing my lunch dishes at work as I did the baby's dishes that I nanny. And I would just come home and whatever leftovers I was eating, those are the only dishes that I had for the day. And then whatever cups I used through the day. Super easy. It took me less than 2 minutes usually. Every once in a while, a little bit longer if I was making a full meal. I had pots and pans and things, but often it was just a couple of minutes to get those dishes done. The next one that was sort of easy, but didn't fully become a habit that I got every single time was reading my nonfiction pages. I definitely have been reading a lot more nonfiction than I normally do. I am a fiction reader. Many of you know I have a book channel, Books and Jams, where I talk about all the books that I'm reading. And so reading is definitely a part of my routine, but reading nonfiction, sometimes I would miss that. And I did have a handful of days where I forgot to read my nonfiction or just got to the end of the day and I just didn't do it. But then the hardest one of all of the 6 definitely was drinking a gallon of water. I did really, really well with it. And most days I did. For the first half of the challenge, I didn't even add anything to my water. I was just drinking straight water. About halfway through, I purchased the Crystal Light packets that are 0 sugar that I could add to my water for my last cup of the day as a treat at the end of the day. Like, you've made it, you've almost drank all your water. Now you get a little treat. And then by the end, the last 10 days or so, I was adding packets to everything because I was so over drinking that much water. I was over it. But yeah, so drinking a gallon of water every day was definitely the hardest of the 6 things. As far as what I'm going to bring forward, what habits have I created that I'm going to continue on with moving into April and beyond? Because I still have the goal of losing 50 pounds by my birthday. I was hopeful. First of all, before we talk about what I'm going to continue, let's talk about results. I was hoping at the beginning that I would lose 20 pounds, and I got very close, very, very close. In total, I lost 17.3 pounds from the beginning to the end. I started the challenge at 275.8, and on the last day, I weighed in at 258.5, which is amazing. I'm very proud of that. 17.3 pounds is not a shabby number. Was it 20? No, but that's okay. I'm happy with the 17 pounds because I also every week measured myself. Every Thursday morning, because it started on a Thursday. So every Thursday I weighed and measured, and those were the data that counted. I did weigh myself more often than that, but Thursdays are the day that counted, got recorded. So every week I measured my chest, my waist, my hips, each of my legs, and each of my arms. And overall, in inches, I lost 15 and a half inches. I lost 3.5 inches from my chest, 3 inches from my waist, 3.25 inches from my hips, 2.25 inches from one leg, and 2 from the other. Legs are tricky because depending on where I measure, I tried to get in about the right spot every time, but it was a little tricky. So about 2 inches from each of my legs, and then 70.75, almost an inch from each of my arms. So altogether, it was 15.5 inches. I'm very excited about that. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that I've dropped a size because I was stuffing myself into my clothes, but it does mean that my clothes are fitting much nicer. They're not as tight. My shirts are a little more loose. They don't hug my belly as much as they used to. I feel a lot more comfortable in a few of my different pairs of jeans that are easier to button up. I don't have to squeeze myself into them quite as much as I was before. I'm very pleased about that. So 17.3 pounds and 15.5 inches in the 75 days. I'm thrilled about that. I'm thrilled about that. But let's talk about moving forward now. A couple of these habits I'm dropping. A couple of them I plan on carrying through and carrying on. And what else am I adding to April? Because I love a good challenge. And I love to continue working on this goal of losing 50 pounds by my birthday in July. So I'm not going to be tracking steps anymore. I will still try to get a good amount of steps, but I'm not going to be paying attention to my steps anymore. The main reason for that is I stopped doing weightlifting workouts. I often do workouts just using YouTube videos, as we've talked about before. Many of them are weightlifting ones, and I love that. I have weights here at home. I have 3, 5, 10, 8, 12, 15, and 20 pound weights. I have all of these weights that I can use here at home. And I stopped doing weight workouts because they weren't giving me steps. I know that I need to be lifting weights, and I love weightlifting workouts. So I'm not paying attention to steps. I am keeping exercising every day, and I've just lowered my minutes from 60 to 45. I still would like to get 45 minutes of exercise in every day. I think I will be able to do this pretty easily since I'm used to getting 60. I just wanted to back off a tiny bit, but still try to do it every single day. The no sugar one is out the window. I still don't eat bread, pasta, and I'm not going to go crazy with sweets, but I did buy myself a loaf of Dave's Killer Bread, which is like whole grains, doesn't have all the stuff in it that regular bread does. It's expensive. But I did buy a loaf of that bread, and I did get some chickpea pasta that I would like to try to see how I like that one. But we're going to try to keep that limited. The breads, pasta, and sweets, we're going to try to keep limited. I'm just not going to be quite as strict as I was during the 75-day challenge. Water, I've already talked about. I'm throwing that out the window. I will still stay hydrated. I will still constantly be drinking water. I've got a big cup of water next to me right here. I'm still going to be drinking a lot of water. I just am not going to be going for a gallon a day. Not at all. I am still going to try to read nonfiction every day. I, on my book channel, have talked about a personal curriculum, which is going to be to study and read some of C.S. Lewis's nonfiction books. So for April, May, and June, I'm going to be focusing on those as my nonfiction. I also did put another nonfiction on my pile of possible reads for the next month, for April. So I do plan to continue working through nonfiction books, and we'll try to read some every day. And then the dishes, I am hoping that that is a habit that continues. I've already found myself doing dishes as I use them, trying to keep up with that. We're 4 days past the challenge now when I'm filming this, and I'm definitely planning on keeping up with the dishes. And one final thing that I'm adding for April is that I would like to start tracking my food. I know that this is a habit that many people who lose weight and keep it off do, is to track their food. I find it very difficult to remember to do it, to wrap my mind around it, to find an easy way to do it, but I'm determined by the end of the month to have that be a habit. So I have been failing already. I'll straight up be honest. I haven't been doing it as much. I think I tracked some yesterday, and that was the first day. It was the 3rd. So I did not do it at all on Monday and Tuesday, or on the 1st and the 2nd. So it's a work in progress, but by the end of April, I would like to be someone who tracks their food consistently. I'm talking to my friend from church. She is definitely someone who tracks every single thing she eats. My friend Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library is my accountability partner, and she also is someone who tracks consistently, has told me some of the tips that she does. So I'm hoping between the two of those two friends, I will find my groove when it comes to tracking food. That is my big goal for April, to track my food. And I also would like to continue to lose, right? So we're not going crazy with the sweets, because I do still want to keep losing. I would love to lose 5 to 6 more pounds by the end of April to continue on that path towards losing 50 by my birthday. Even if I don't get there, I will try and get close. That's the challenge. And as I was working out the other day, the instructor said, there's no change without challenge. And that resonated with me. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. There's no change without challenge. So I'm going to continue to challenge myself. I hope that you will continue to challenge yourself and keep moving towards your goal. Baby steps are still steps, okay? It's okay to have a day that we go off the rails. Bring it right back. Next meal, next choice, next decision, next day, whatever it may be, to bring it back to those healthy choices for you. Maybe that's just standing up every once in a while. If you're someone who finds themselves sitting for a long time, just stand up, walk to the kitchen, get yourself a drink of water, walk around your house for a minute or two, and before we get back to our chairs. Whatever it may be for you, wherever you are at, there's no change without challenge. And we want to change to be the healthiest versions of ourselves that we can be, so that we can grow old gracefully and with strength and energy. That is what I hope for all of you. And that's what I hope for myself. And we're on that path together. So thank you so much for watching. I'm so thrilled that I had you in my corner as I did the 75-day challenge. Now we're moving on to new things for April. I look forward to hearing what your challenge is for yourself this month. What are your goals? What is one of your intentions for this coming week, for this month? I would love to hear that. Let's chat down in the comments below. Go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy it, if you're challenging yourself, if you're finding motivation from it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you here in this little healthy corner of the internet. I'll talk to you in another video very soon. Bye.